Good evening, good evening, good evening, my passport bros. So, tonight, I got a very, 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 special guest. Someone that I've grown to know over the years. Someone that has been like a big brother to myself and a lot of people, and and a mentor as well. We plan to have a good dialogue, and a lot of you people may be familiar with them, and those that don't know, you'll learn something new. What we do in this travel game. So I'm gonna start off by playing some of the work that this man have done over the years, and more recently. So with further ado, let me show you some of his work in the Dominican Republic.
All right, once again, we're back here at Goddess Beach in the Dominican Republic, here in the beautiful city of Cabarete. I just want to say to everybody, today is our annual Christmas in October. And once again, we've come here to this beautiful island just to show the children that we are men of purpose. That we come here to this beautiful island just to show the children, show the children that we care about them and that we want to do something worthwhile for them. And if you would have been here today, there were a lot of smiles and a lot of happy children. And you know what? We've been doing this every year now for 6 years. And we enjoy doing it. It's something that gives us a sense of purpose as we travel to this beautiful island. And we just want to say thank you so much for everybody that contributes, that offers something, and even somebody just saying thank you. Thank you for what we're doing. We really appreciate it. On behalf of the Caribbean Rescue Team, I just want to say to all these gentlemen right here, this could not have been done without you and all the other people that contribute for this event. So thank you so much. But now I just want to introduce you to Goddess. Goddess, she's the beautiful owner of this place, this beach, and she want to say something on behalf of the Dominican Republic. Goddess.
My pleasure to having you over here for this event. It's a great, great situation, great giving, helping out the kids. It's such a great pleasure for me being, helping on your own. I'm looking there every year and time, to help out when it's needed. Oh, aquí, un placer para mí ofrecer mi espacio, mi lugar, para un evento tan grande, tan bueno, tan especial para los niños de Cabrete, de Puerto Plata, de la área. Y es un placer para mí ofrecer mi espacio para un evento tan bueno, tan servicial, tan que digo, una emocionante. Para los niños, ayudarles y enseñarles. Espero estar aquí siempre para ayudar en situaciones así.
Thank you so much. Muchas gracias. Muchas gracias. Caribbean Rescue Team. We're here every year, and we can't do this also without your support. So we would hope that as you see all the smile faces that were on these children today, that you consider next year as we come back to this beautiful island of making a donation, contributing, or whatever you can do to help is much appreciated. So thank you so much. Thank you again, Goddess, for all your work. Thank you, brothers, for all your work. And thank the children for coming out. And we hope that you had a good time.
Yes, yes, yes. So, with further ado, I wanted to use this opportunity to one, give one of my close mentors, brothers, passport bro. I want to give him his flowers, man. He's done a lot. He's touched a lot of people. He's brought a lot of people together. He's somebody that a lot of people, big names in this group, whether it was Mr. Flip Flop, Taylor Made Dreams, Dean Cole, so many people has passed through his group, doing good things of their own, and we all know each other, man. So I respect his brotherhood, but with further ado, let me introduce you to my big bro, Mike. What's good? What's good? What's good, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well, my brother, and you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good, man. I know this your first time, man, doing this, man. I appreciate you, giving us your time.
Well, I really appreciate you asking me to come on. It's a great thing when a brother, somebody say, come on and share with other people and what you do and how you do it. And I really appreciate you even inviting me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. A brother from another mother, man. We have a common, we're both in fraternities. We're in different fraternities, but we both in fraternities, man. So
it's all that same fraternal bond. It's all that same fraternal bond.
Yes, sir.
It's one love, one mission.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So just introduce yourself to the people. Let them know where you're from, countries you travel to, and I guess your favorite country.
Okay, well, named Mike Willis. I'm from the Windy City, Chicago. Been here all my life for the most part. I've been traveling basically since 1983. Hopefully, God's will, I'll be celebrating my 62nd birthday, February. Places I've gone, I've traveled. We used to travel to Brazil all the time. So I frequent Brazil on a regular basis. Then we moved. Well, everyone was going to Mexico at one point. Everywhere in Mexico we were going. Then we started going to Bangkok, Thailand. We started going to Pattaya on a regular basis. And then what happened was, as we were in Puerto Rico once, one of the guys traveling with me around 1986, he said, Mike, let's go to the Dominican Republic. And I said, Dominican Republic? Who wants to go there? He said, Mike, trust me. If you like Puerto Rico, let's start going to the Dominican Republic. So my first trip to the Dominican was in 1986. So in 1986, we started going to Barbaro, Punta Cana. Now, you have to realize Punta Cana, Barbaro, the resorts was just beginning to come up. So it was still somewhat natural without so many resorts. So what happened was I probably spent my first 7 years in Barbaro, Punta Cana, moving around Higüey, moving around Barbaro, moving around all the locals, staying in hotels, because at that time, Airbnbs really wasn't a big thing. It wasn't at all. So we was most of the time staying in Airbnbs. But I have to mention that around 1989, as with anything, guys start saying, let's try Colombia. Then we start venturing to Colombia, Cartagena. And I'll tell you a little later about my experience in Colombia. But however, when you stated, well, Mike, what is your favorite destination as of right now? For me, I love the Dominican Republic. So one would say, so you might say, well, why you love the Dominican so much? Like so many people here in Chicago. People in Chicago think I live in the Dominican Republic because all since they've known, I'm always there. But who wouldn't love a country when you go somewhere and you see people that look like you? Other than the fact that my Spanish is not good, but when they see me, I look just like their aunts, their uncles, their grandparents, their brothers. And what happened was, I remember once in Punta Cana, I stayed at a resort because I got suckered in one of them timeshares.
Right,
So, so as you're young and you graduate from college and you think you got a lot of money, first thing they start getting you with these timeshares. So me thinking that, oh, I got a little money, I bought two. So I bought two timeshares. So I found myself not really liking to stay at the resorts, but I stayed at one in Punta Cana. And what really hooked me with the Dominican Republic is that when all those non-blacks, those white folks were in lines, the blacks that worked there called me to the front. When I was in the little dining area and it was time to eat, they would always give me more. When it was time to sit down, they would make sure that I had the best seat. And this was the first time out of all my years of traveling that I came across a group of people that made me feel number one. That their treatment for me was always, and I began to notice that on a regular basis, that how they treated me as a black man coming from the United States, like how all of us would like to be treated wherever we travel to.
So after Punta Cana, where did you start venturing out throughout the country? Like, did you have a certain border?
What happened was, while in Punta Cana, it used to be a club called Club Mango. And so for some of you veteran travelers that might be listening, if you remember, Punta Cana had these clubs, and they also had them strip clubs there too back in the day before, so it was Club Mango. So while at Club Mango, we was hanging out, and some guys were there, and they were like, and I was showing them around Barbaro. At that time, I knew Barbaro, Punta Cana like the back of my hand. I knew all the spots, so I showed some guys around it, and one of the guys said, have you been to the other side of the island? I said, the other side of the island? He said, you never been to Sosua, Puerto Plata? I said, I heard about it, but we haven't ventured to that side. So I told the guys that I was traveling with, let's try the other side of the island. So what happened maybe around 1990 or 91, we drove to the other side of the island from Barbaro. And I was like, oh my God. Back then, Sosua, Puerto Plata was nothing like how it is now. It was like, if I thought Punta Cana was the spot, I thought that at that time Sosua was like unbelievable. So in the meantime, as we start going to the North Coast, then as you meet people on the island, and one of the things you realize is that as you meet the locals and become friends with the locals, you find out that the locals live in other places like La Vega, like Banal, like mostly Santo Domingo. So as you begin to create a friend base and people become your friends and you start visiting them, you start realizing that island was so different from depending on where you were at, that no place was really the same. That whether if you was in Santo Domingo, you would have a different experience. If you was going to Santiago, the experience was different. And if you went to the country like La Vega, oh my God, it was just so different. You were like, wow, this is a gold mine. It's a treasure. So that's basically what began to happen.
Wow, okay. So about the early 90s, you tried the North Coast. you started your travels in DR and Punta Cana, so you tried the North Coast. So kind of walk us through, like, we're accustomed to like WhatsApp technology. A lot of us, like to meet women online. Like none of that stuff existed, and then also going back to the U.S. and keeping it in contact. So how was that experience? Before all this technology came in.
Well, you have, just to give a little brief history, you have to realize when I graduated from college, there was no laptops, there were no computers. The computers didn't come out till after I got my master's degree, and then they started talking about computers and to cell phones. We were always making collect calls. My collect call bill, if you can just imagine it, was just enormous because I was always traveling and I was always calling these different places I was traveling to, and everything was a collect call. Everything was a collect call. So what happened was, as I even began to start thinking about this conversation tonight, I started looking at my picture albums and looked at all them little Polaroid pictures that I had from my Kodak camera. For many, many years, I don't even know when cell phones started taking pictures like that, but I have like tons of pictures from Brazil when we used to hang out at a place called Pio Pataki's Help, and all the fellas, I think I was in my, maybe it was in my 30s, and we all used to hang outside. We used to go to all the spots in Brazil. And for us back then, being a young college graduate, having a decent job, making what I thought was a good salary, we started getting on that plane flying. And then what happened was in Brazil, when they start shutting down a lot of places that we started frequently going to, it kind of made for some of us that long plane ride not really worth it to travel so far to Brazil. And a lot of the clubs and places that we just couldn't wait to get back to every other month was no longer there. So how do we capitalize our moment was that we was always taking pictures. I would always come back and maybe go to Walgreens or somewhere, and then sometimes with some of them pictures they wouldn't develop them. But anyway, that's a different story. But anyway, you take your Kodak camera. So I looked at all the little Polaroid pictures that I had with my friends, and those was the memories. Now, if you talk about a camera, that's all. I don't even think people take cameras anymore to take pictures anymore. Everything is with your cell phone. So as with anything, as technology began to advance, it started making traveling a little different for some of us. But what I started to begin to realize is that as I started meeting more and more young travelers, as I started getting older, I started finding myself explaining some of the things over and over to some people. So I said, I tried to find a way, how could I be able to start a group that we could have share information? Sometimes as Black people, we're a little selfish. We can be selfish, and we don't like to let another person know something's good because sometimes we worry they might mess it up or they might ruin it for us. So what happened was, because trust issues among our own wasn't really happening, I said that I found WhatsApp. Right. And then I said, if I could start, my first group was Global Travel.
Okay.
If I said that if I can start a small group of brothers that wasn't afraid to be in a chat group to share places to eat, places to go, places to avoid, transportation. If I could start a group like that in a chat and try to get brothers that travel that feel comfortable about talking about their things, that would be a start. So that's the reason why I started the Global Travel Group. And as I started the Global Travel Group, as with anything good, other people want to duplicate. So what happened is that as I started the Global Travel Group and we started getting good brothers in that group, some of them started saying, oh, I can do the same thing and start my own group. So groups start branching out, which is a good thing. I've never been one that afraid of competition, afraid of other people duplicating a good thing. That's just what happens. If something good happens, other people want to do it. So then as I began to realize, as the Global Travel Group began to expand, I realized that my favorite spot was the Dominican Republic. And that's the reason why then once again, I started the Dominican Travel Group. And then everything else, as far as I began to notice the conversations that was happening with all the brothers in the group, I said, oh, we kind of need a co-ed group because some of these brothers kind of hate black women or got some problems with women in the United States. So I said, we might need a co-ed group. And that's when I started Food for Thought.
Mm.
And then I realized that some brothers, like yourself, is so deep in your thinking and so intelligent. And I realized that a lot of my black history wasn't taught to me. And I started learning from a lot of you brothers a whole lot of stuff that I didn't even know. So then I said, we need a black group. So Black Men's Perspective came up, and then other groups that talked about us as a people started forming. And all this started happening on the WhatsApp.
Wow. So yeah, I wanna kind of bring people circle back, with the what for me the WhatsApp era. So with Facebook, for me and a lot of brothers that consider themselves passport bros, for a lot of us, Facebook, Charles Tyler Group was their first access to international travel. And salute, rest in peace, Charles Tyler. But he was very influential in a lot of guys, and a lot of guys like myself, Taylor Made, um, a lot of guys that then spent off and did their own thing. We all was in that group sharing information, And so, Charles Tyler was, I would say, I would credit him being a pioneer of the Facebook travel groups as it pertains to us brothers that travel. When it comes to WhatsApp, I look at Brother Mike as a pioneer of the WhatsApp groups. When I started traveling almost over 6 years ago, one of my frat brothers, Ralph, he knew that I traveled. I was doing my traveling thing, but I wasn't in the WhatsApp groups yet. So he was like, man. So he put me in one of your groups, Dominican Travel, and it was just so much. And this was like before. I went to DR because I was hitting up Brazil. And then I was thinking about hitting up DR. So he put me in Dominican Travel, and brothers posting pictures, sharing information. I was just like, man, this group is popping, And, and like you said, a lot of groups spent off. We end up a couple guys end up starting Columbia Travel, which I was a part of. Then we just started creating groups, country specific. But a lot of the people that really been given information behind the scenes, a lot of that information came from what we were sharing in WhatsApp groups, man. But what I mean. But shout out to you, what you did. It's immeasurable, man. A lot of information been shared, a lot of relationships have been formed, and I really credit you to that. I'm pretty sure there's other people that had WhatsApp and did groups, but like I said, the big names, the big people in travel, they have graced Dominican travel with global travel, brother.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. So before we get into some other things, let's just talk about just the dynamic of. I wanted to touch on this, just the dynamic of groups. It was like one time you had mentioned that you could kind of sense when like guys are about to like argue or get into it. Like it's just certain things like when people start, whether it's something they post or something they say, and like the vets that's been in the groups, because you said you don't really get provoked like that no more. You just kind of sit back and watch. But what, I guess, how did you transform as far as being more mature and just understanding how men operate, especially when they're new? Because a lot of guys start out hot-headed and they kind of settle down over time in the group. So I just want you to just kind of talk on that.
Well, a lot of it is based on my history of my career. Here in Chicago, I'm retired now, probation officer, but I was president of the union for probation officers for over 22 years. So, being president of a union, having to deal with grievances and negotiate contracts, and being a probation officer at that, I was a juvenile probation officer. So I dealing with conflict, dealing with issues, dealing with family issues. So I think that I learned through my career, work career, of that of having patience, that of trying to just be a good listener. And I realized that people's personalities are people's personalities. And I've been wanting to say, if you ever spoken, talked with me before, I said that core parts of people's personality are their core parts. And if you're going to assume the position of trying to lead, direct, or do anything, you have to be able to listen and be open to understand that sometimes people perspective and the way they look at things are a little different. So, like for me, when it comes in these groups, because I'm always into people's personalities, after I begin to watch and listen to how a person conversate, the type of conversations they bring up, I kind of begin to start kind of knowing the kind of mindset and the core of a particular person. So then with me, I believe that everything has to have some boundaries, but I have to also be a little flexible in some of those boundaries to understand that you have to allow a person to be able to express themselves the way they know how to express. And some people are just a little different in that thinking. So that's the reason why I know, like in a group setting, if I see something getting a little tense or I see something going in a direction and say this could be dangerous, I try to wait as long as I can. First thing I try to do is direct message the person to say, listen, you need to probably take this offline. But then I try to find a way to switch the conversation. And so that's what I do.
Okay, okay. Also, talk about the brotherhood, man, because like I said before, us being in fraternities, we understand brotherhood. Sometimes you have your ups, downs, challenges. I'll be transparent. It's been people like I had G on the podcast a couple of weeks ago, man, and we done had issues, but we just fell out. I ain't talked to him for like a year or for some months, but you know what I mean. But we always end up coming back, and like nothing never happened, man. And I know we had a period where we wasn't talking, and it was a misunderstanding. I say mostly on my part, but I mean we're able to pick up where we left off, and so as men, I feel like I appreciate that. So can you talk about like what that means to you?
Oh my God. Brotherhood for me means so much. Um, all my frat brothers that know me know that one of the main components about how frat brothers should be is the brotherhood part. And that for me, if brothers don't have this brotherhood part, I have a problem with that individual. So meaning that brotherhood is so important for me, I realize that any brother is going to have an argument. Any brother is going to have a disagreement. Any brother is going to have sometimes a lot of things that might cause them ills. But one of the things about the brotherhood is that you get over it. And the brotherhood, just like family, you be mad maybe a certain amount of time and then you come back together. One thing with me is that I try not to hold grudges because as I've gotten older, wisdom has taught me that it's stressful and it's unhealthy.
Right.
So I can argue with you now, be a little disappointed, upset with you now, but I'm not going to hold a grudge against you because I don't have time for that negative energy. If you know me, I always try to say that we have to start doing more positive energy, and because it's so easy to let negative stuff get in our system. And that negative stuff, once it gets in our system, it's not healthy. So this brotherhood part, I say it all the time with my frat brothers. I say it to everybody as I travel that, I view the people that I meet. I meet so many people when I travel. And once I let you in my circle, you're in my circle. So anything that I could do to help you, I'm going to do it. That's just how I am and how I think.
Cool, cool. Let me get through some of these chats. Someone asked, do you have a nonprofit number? I'm trying to get his nonprofit number to donate to his organization. I'm not sure what a nonprofit number is.
You you want me to answer that?
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Well, that goes into a whole nother subject. While in the Dominican Republic, about maybe 7 years ago, I started a group called the Caribbean Rescue Team. But really at the time, it's called Christmas in October. Christmas in October, I realized there was so many brothers traveling to the Dominican Republic that we needed to travel with a purpose other than just fun. It's okay to have fun, but what happens is that when we go there, people that live there need to stop looking at us like black brothers is just coming there having fun and then leaving. So I started a group. We started having service projects where we would bring toys around October, and we called it Christmas in October. Christmas in October is when we bring school supplies, we bring toys, we bring gifts, we have food, we have like a carnival, we have a festival, we dance, we mentor the children, we do a lot. And but what makes that so important is that so many people, we change locations, so many people come out and they're looking at us as black men, and all I see is smiles on children's faces, the parents' faces, because they're not used to black brothers coming to that country doing events like that. So as the years begin to go on, we started realizing that we needed to make that foundation a little bit more permanent. So as we speak right now, we're finalizing our 501c3. Because before, what we were doing is that I was basically asking brothers in the chat group, can you make a donation? Can you give $100? Whatever you can give to make this happen. If you can donate some toys. And that's how we were doing this every year. But as this event has grown to the point that it's at now, we realized that we need something to be able to get companies to donate. So that's the reason why with our Christmas in October, we're almost finished with our 501c3, and I will make sure that everybody know the way to donate this money to this to our 501c3. But in the meantime, as the event approaches, you want to donate some toys, you want to send something, book supplies, backpacks, or whatever you want to do, I'll make sure that my brother here gets the information, and in all the groups it's posted. Really appreciate you asking that question.
That's a great question. Great question. We're gonna dig more into that. Let me get through. Julio is in the building. Let's see. Julio, I posted the link if you did want to say what's up. Let's see. Julio said, "No, Mike, add me back to the group." Okay. So yeah, definitely want to the Christmas in October, man. You sent me a video. You sent me a few videos, and we played one at the beginning of the stream. But one little clip, man, it really touched my heart, man. So I want to share with people real quick, and then I'll ask you a few more things about Christmas in October. Yeah, check this out.
Enderecen la fila, no importa que pegue allá atrás, enderecenla. Estamos detenidos hasta que no enderecen la fila, no vamos a dar juguete. Enderecen la fila, enderecenla. Si no enderezan la fila, no vamos a dar los juguetes. Ustedes son los que saben.
Man, yeah, man. That little boy, man, he was that gift, man, brought so much joy to that boy. And man, like whatever you had to go to put that smile and feeling into that young man is worth it, man. How does that make you feel, man, when you see those type of reactions?
Oh man, how it makes me feel, and not only me, how it makes our team feel, is that when we see those young kids smile and just their look on their face, or how they look at us, they just stare at us. They stare at us as black men doing something, and the looks that they give us is like one that just runs through my body, just the emotions on how these young people are looking at us when we're there. At one place we went to the orphanage, and some of the guys was playing basketball with the kids, and they were looking at us like we were NBA professional basketball players, and they just the excitement was just so beneficial. See, sometimes some of us take for granted some of the things that we've had here in the United States. But when you go to a country and you give somebody a toy of a truck or a car or a gift, something that they might not have never had, and just the idea, as you can see the expression of that little boy's face, can you imagine that magnified, seeing hundreds of kids as we giving them a gift, or how they were looking and how they made us. So that's why out of anything that I do, I look so forward to going back for our Christmas in October, because it really, really gives me a sense of this is what more of us need to do in a lot of places that we travel to.
Most definitely, man. I'm touched by it again. I definitely want to go back again. Me being married, or me about to be married, I have a legitimate reason to go back to the Dominican Republic. So so that'll be a good thing. Julio dropping in to say what's up. I'm gonna bring him in for a minute, just so he could just so he could say what's up.
Yes, sir. Julio's in the building, official podcast. I love it. Big Mike, what's up?
What's up, brother Julio?
Man, listen, just living life, man.
Always.
This a great thing you doing, Rob. I really don't usually get into this podcast, but I felt like I'll support you a few times. I know a couple other times you did it, and I think I was busy or something like that. But
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. What you got to speak on, man?
Nah. I was just coming in to say what's up to you, Cass, man. I heard Mike talking about the whole Christmas in October. I remember when we started that, Mike. When we came up with that name and everything. So
I want to say something to brother Julio while we have him online. Brother Julio is one of the brothers who started from the beginning as we started doing the Christmas in October, the charity event. And this young brother, he's one of the ones that branched off and started his own group. And his knowledge base of especially the Dominican Republic and Santo Domingo is that every time I listen to brother Julio, I just a nod and say, this brother's doing his thing. So Julio, I just want to say to you, you're doing a great job as far as keeping brothers informed about a lot of things that's really going on in the Dominican Republic. And I tip my hat off to you, brother.
No, I appreciate that. Appreciate it, man. We love the Dominican Republic and giving back in terms of community service. We all are fraternity guys. So, giving back was that was the idea that I actually really, really loved, because I heard you say that, a lot of the time they look at us in a different way, a little different aspect of what we down there doing. And, we had to actually change that whole view. And I think with brothers like you and I doing the whole Christmas in October and, doing the group activities and showing that, hey, we are African-American males, even though we're enjoying your country, we also want to help out as well, because we understand how the poverty is there. We understand that, they don't get paid that much money. I think I was reading the other day that the hourly peso was like 250 pesos per hour, which is just ridiculous. And
right.
I still don't understand how that is down there. So when I'm down there, I always try to bring things for people and, donate a lot of things. And, me and my fraternity brothers at one point, we actually bought uniforms for a whole village in Higuay one time, and bought everybody uniforms and books and papers and things of that nature. Because, we have to, we've been blessed to, a lot of us has been blessed to work and keep things going on when it's COVID, when a lot of people have been out of jobs, unemployment. But I think, all of us have been blessed and kept our jobs. So we got to keep on giving. And my grandma always said, when you keep giving and you're doing things of that nature, you're going to continue to be blessed, and you're going to continue to keep, be able to give. So definitely big shout out to you, Mike, for that information.
Excuse me. Hold on for a second. Keep going.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, man. I definitely want to get you on the if you down, man, on the joint, man. So those who don't know Julio, man, like I said, he's another guy that's been behind the scenes. I would say like my boy G, like throwing good parties, always having a good time, man. Like when he do DR, he do DR big. His hold on, I got you on mute.
I'm kind of sad because for the past 3 years now, I'm not able to do my parties like I really want to, man. And it's just been a drag. I guess I could have done it this year, and I did actually have it planned for this year, August, But the way the Omicron is working out right now, that's probably not gonna happen. So I'm hoping to start up the parties again and the island tours and be able to do the Julio things that a lot of people have always been asking me about. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind being on here, Rob. Whenever we get some questions or set up some solid questions that you want me to ask or answer. Like I said, I've been going to DR a long, long time, and I think I'm over a decade in right now, actually, as well. So just finished up my second piece of property down there. It's gonna be finished up in I think probably around April or May. So I'm excited, man. I love the country, and just actually was on the phone with the consulate this morning. I'm hoping that they moving my process along. So I hopefully probably by maybe August I should have my ID. I'll be an official resident of down there, and then 6 months after that I can get my passport. So I'm moving, man. I can't wait.
That's what's up.
So I'll let y'all get back to y'all thing though. But yeah, Rob, talk to me offline, and I'll definitely join. Big Mike, if I don't see you on your birthday celebration, man, have a great time. Be safe, okay?
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that.
All right, peace, y'all.
Yeah, brother Julio in the building. So yeah, so I wanted you to kind of I wanted to do a roll call, man. If you can remember names, just let's touch on some people that came in and out the groups you created and that's doing big things. One person in particular that I've been talking to, I want to get him on a podcast is Alex, man. He doing some good things with his app development and some business moves that he's trying to do. But yeah, if you could name some brothers, man, that that's been doing a thing outside the groups, whether it's Russ Taylor, for example. Let's give a shout out to some people that people may not know of that's doing some big things.
Well, usually with me, I get in trouble when I start saying names and listing names because I just get in trouble because when you miss somebody and they be like, he didn't mention my name. I just will say this.
Okay.
Is that the Global Travel Dominican Travel Group was probably one of your first groups that started. And from that group, a lot of good brothers, innovative brothers, innovative people have come and started their own things. For example, brother Julio, who just was on here. Julio was a young brother. I'm probably like his, I'm way older than Julio, but he was a young brother, innovative, very creative, with a lot of energy. And brothers like Julio are the ones that started in the group and realized that they had something that they wanted to share. So they kind of broke off a little bit and started doing their own thing. So there's a lot of brothers that start off from the chat group and is now doing their own things. But all of them, like with anybody, come back home. And they always refer back or sometimes ask me a question. And the best thing about it is that I am continuing to meet so many good young brothers, whether it's in Colombia, whether it's now going back to Africa. We got an Africa group, and I'm learning these brothers is going to Africa and talking about Africa. It's just blowing my mind, just the knowledge that a lot of you young brothers have as it relates to the history of the places that we travel to. You guys have taken this travel game, in my opinion, to a whole nother level. We're not only just talking about looking at girls all day. We're not just talking about what people will call mongering. You brothers are bringing up conversations that are so deep that I find myself just listening and reading through these WhatsApps all day long. And sometimes I have to put it down because, I'm still a single man. And so if I'm around someone, they'll say, Mike, can you put that cell phone down and just pay attention to what's going on? Wow. So yes, yeah. And so I really like what I'm seeing, the growth of really what's happening with a lot of these groups and just the knowledge of you young brothers, especially you. I've watched you grow. I watched you grow to the point that you're not afraid anymore to talk with a lot of people. You used to kind of be very reserved. And now you were so reserved that now I'm glad, because you was always had a wealth of information, but Holly couldn't get you to talk. You kind of was keeping things to yourself. So for you to have this podcast and you asked me to come on, it was no way I could say no, because now you realize that the knowledge and the information that you have and you willing to share with other people, I really appreciate that. I do. And I have to tell you, like you say, give me thanks. I want to thank brothers like you that I'm listening to, whether it's Greg from Flip Flop, whether it's Russell from Taylor Made, or whether it's so many of you other brothers. All I remember when I first started listening to this YouTube stuff, and I'm still not a real big YouTuber. I'm really just learning. But the only person I remember was a guy named Cuba Dave, wherever he's at. And that's the first person who I kind of started hearing a little bit. But, all that social media stuff was somewhat new to me back then.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Shout out to Russ, man. He has I don't know if he has a nonprofit, but he's definitely doing some charity work every year in DR.
And he works with me. He works well with the Christmas in October. He's part of our team. Alex and a lot of brothers from the group. Ray from Rumbles. There's a lot of people that roll up their sleeves. Either they donate money or they actually come out. But I really appreciate whatever part people plays as far as giving to those children in the Dominican Republic. Whatever they do, as far as if it's just showing up to give out a plate of food, or just to walk with a kid and give them a hug, it means a lot. That's the reason why I really wanted to stay Black men. Our sisters been trying to get in on this. I got to tell everyone listening, our sisters was like, Mike, we want in. But I think for right now, as Black men, we can hold this on our own. Sisters can come help, but as far as the main role, the brothers gonna hold this down.
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What do you think about it expanding to other countries? By myself creating a foothold in Colombia, I wouldn't mind doing something, giving back to, some of those communities in Colombia, for example, or any places we travel to frequently.
Well, I alluded to something when you asked me that first beginning question about my experience in Colombia. I like going to Colombia, but this is just for me, in my opinion, is that Colombia's, even though we know it's all Black people and they should understand their heritage, but their embrace of me as a Black man when I first started going wasn't something that I felt comfortable with. And I got to give you an example. When I first started going to Colombia in the 90s, I was going with my buddies that were Puerto Ricans. And we would go down, and I was the only Black person that's in the group. And even though I danced all the Latin dances, nobody was gravitating to me. It wasn't friendly at all. But all of them, they was just gravitating to them all day, all the time. And at first I gave the excuse maybe because they spoke Spanish. But I realized that the treatment for me was not the same as I was getting in the Dominican Republic. And as I started going back throughout the years, the things started changing a lot, but never to the point for Colombia for me. I feel like they embraced me as a Black man coming to their country and really wanted to do work in their communities. I met a lot of people. I met a lot of people that live there that have become people that I associate with, but none of them has really taken me to their communities or really has involved me with their families or children. And I've been going there a long time too. And that's to me, that's why for me, of starting something in Colombia right now is not on my bucket list, because I don't feel the reception that I get when I'm in the Dominican Republic. Right. Now I hear my frat brothers go to Africa all the time and they do a lot of stuff there, but in Colombia, I just don't get it. Now maybe your experience is a little different. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's areas in Cartagena that's like pretty much 99% black, like people look like me and you.
Right.
And you know, if I was to do something like that, you know, I would start in those regions because regardless, being black around the world, people that look like us are the most neglected. You know,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely.
you know
Absolutely.
that's definitely something.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. If I was to carry on your legacy, that would be something I would definitely do in Colombia.
That's great.
So just a few, just more questions. Let's talk about the state of DR and the state of Christmas in October as it relates to, you know, the travel climate with the pandemic. And you know, more recently, I was just in the Dominican Republic on the North Coast, and it's not as populated as it been in prior. And do you see that changing? Do you see brothers still being able to or having a turnout from years past with Christmas in October? How does the state of DR look and affect anything you want to do moving forward?
You know, this you just asked a question that just brought a memory back to me. Is that when the first pandemic started, we really discussed whether or not we wanted to have the event there. But I said that more than ever, the children was really suffering, and we needed to do something in the Dominican Republic because the children didn't understand why they weren't in school. The children didn't understand really what was going on with the sickness. And what I when I said to the guys was that we need to make this happen, fellas. And I understand if in fact some people might not feel comfortable going because of the pandemic, but somehow, some way, we need to do something. You know, when we decided to make that happen, when the pandemic first happened, and we went down there, it probably was one of our biggest events that we had there. The turnout of the children and the families was enormous. And, you know, through God's goodwill, we were able to get enough donations and stuff that no child came to that event without receiving a gift. But what made it so hard for me was that on that particular event, two of my frat brothers that was with me, they died while there in that event. You know, one was like one of my best friends. And what happened was we believe that this was before they started checking for COVID a lot. We believe that they came down there probably with the virus. And when they got sick while they were there, the hospitals weren't able to treat them in a way. As we was coming back, one was having problems breathing. And the next thing I know, they rushed him to the hospital. When I got back to Chicago, they told me he had died. And I just couldn't believe it. And then the other one who stayed, who was sick, they say he died that night in the house. So you can imagine how that made me feel as far as losing two of my frat brothers who was down there doing their charity event. And this was in the beginning when COVID was running rapid. And at that point I realized that so I welcome now everything they're doing as far as making sure that screening and you take the test and everything is good. And that brothers make sure that before they go out of town, that during this pandemic, they got to make sure things are well. When this year that we just conducted the event, once again, with the pandemic still being around, we thought about it. And I had to say to the group, I'm sure the two brothers that passed still, because they were committed to the event, wouldn't want us to cancel. Wanted us to still continue to do this because they view this as an important part of traveling. So that's the reason why this year we decided during the pandemic to do it again. And as you can see from the video, is that God is good, that we once again were able to give toys and gifts to every child that was there. We fed them well, and we had stuff left over that we could go again. While I was there, we went to an orphanage, we went to the church, we did several things because we had so many donations from the first time. We was able to go and do it at 2 other locations before I return back on this trip.
Oh man, that's good, man. So you definitely plan on having Christmas in October this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. As we speak, because I believe that all events have to be well planned out.
Right.
Right now, we're already planning, trying to get our 501c3 done, trying to think about a location, thinking about people that we can get to donate. Last year at the airport, Customs gave us for the first time a hard time bringing in toys and gifts. They wanted to take them from us. We never before had we had any problems bringing all those toys and gifts in, but the custom officers wanted to take it because they said we didn't have the right paperwork. Because God is good, one of the people in the group has his own company, and he starts showing them all the paperwork for his company. Said, "This is from my company." And even after that, after being held up almost 2 hours at the airport, the director still was giving us a hard time. So this is what I thought about. I need a Dominican involved. I contacted Goddess from the beach, and Goddess says, "Mike, you have a problem?" I gave the director, the customs people, the phone, and she told him, "This is for the children. This guy does this all the time." And then he instantly said, "Go ahead." So I guess it pays to kind of know somebody. Because they were really trying to keep that stuff and wouldn't let us get past. That's the reason why I realized this 501c3 and the right paperwork is so important.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear, man. So when it get close to that time, I definitely want to bring you back, and we can definitely generate interest from people that never heard of it, or maybe they want to come to the Dominican Republic for the first time, and do something to kind of get their feet wet. And I think this is a good event. This was actually I would say the last time like I really had a ball in DR was that event. And we did a lot of stuff, with giving out toys and gifts to children, going out to parties, seeing different parts of North Coast, Puerto Plata City, Sosua, things of that nature. So it was pretty well planned out, and it was definitely a good experience. So definitely look forward to that. I'm going to put the link of the latest Christmas in October in the bio. And any closing words, Mike, before we get out?
Yeah, I just want to say, I always say that anything good is duplicated. I am so proud that other brothers and other groups, other fraternities are now beginning to duplicate. So they're now bringing school supplies to Santo Domingo. They're having events in Santiago. They're doing things in Barbaro because people see what can be done. People see the possibilities. So now you have other brothers and other groups duplicating, having things for the children and the families of the Dominican Republic. And I just wanted to take some time just to say thank you to everybody who realized that when we travel, we have to travel with a purpose. It's okay to have fun. I probably like to have fun more than the average person. But I also realize that it's a lot more to traveling than just kicking and having fun. We have to understand the culture of where we're going. We have to understand, try to get to know the people that we're visiting and understand their thinking and their culture. And that once you get to the point in traveling and you understand the culture, you understand the people, trust me, your whole travel experience will be so different. It will be so different. Just try it. So I just want to thank you for having me on. I just want to just hope that as everybody begin to continue to travel, as we say, as one of our rules in the group, safety has to be our number one concern. As let's make sure that we're safe, and let's be okay to reach out to somebody and just let them know how you doing. Can we do it? I believe we can. Peace out. Much respect.
Peace out, man. Those are the wise words of Brother Mike.